Guys, man, it's time to leave the nest, right? I'm talking to all the men here. It's time to leave the nest. The nest that I'm talking about, you guys already know, the colloquial. Your parents' house, your mother's house, your father's house in some cases, right? Like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna get into it now, right? Why is it that we have to leave the nest? Why is the nest a perpetual prison similar to, like, you know, Harry Potter's Azkaban or the prison in Kung Fu Panda where Tai Lung was from, you know? The prison of the nest is not necessarily one that's made out of literal bars and walls and such, but it's really a prison of mentality, and it is one that stunts your development and growth over time. The longer we stay at our parents' house, as men especially 2026, like the world has gone through a lot of changes. Generally, people are not enlightened. People don't really know much. They're not very intelligent, no matter what culture they're from. Let's just call it what it is. In terms of self-reflection and enlightenment, the Georgian and Russian is the same in that regard as the American and the British person. No one's enlightened. And so as men, especially in this day and age, we need to leave the nest as quickly as possible, especially with a lot of disciplines in check. We're sexually disciplined. We're not looking at adult film content. We're not drinking. We're not smoking. We're not doing drugs. We're not partaking in the degenerate hookup culture. We're keeping all of that energy inside, and then we decide to flee the nest. The moment you make a move like that, I'm telling you, you're gonna start to peer into the world in ways that you've never known before. I'll give you guys my personal anecdote. For the most part, I'm 34 years old now, and I've always done my thing. I saved my money, I've invested, I've traveled. We traveled a lot. We're planning to travel in May of this year again. And for the majority of my life, I sort of lived in my parents' house, right? Well, my mom's house. And I paid rent, paid my bills and whatnot. But the thing is, there was an abundance of feminine energy there that, I don't know, I feel like it's done it a lot. It made me not see a lot of what I'm meant to do. It made me feel comfortable not really pursuing a habitation of my own. And so I learned so much. Last year was, of course, a very, very pivotal year for me, right? And it made me, a lot of things happened that formed as catalysts that caused me to just flee the nest. Not flee, but just leave. I just dropped, I left. And for the past couple months that I've been on my own, right? Because I've had my own place for quite some time now. I've learned a lot. Like, I feel things that I'm dead serious. It feels very, very different just being in this state of mind. And I'm telling you guys, a lot of your issues, especially like people that are like trying to do semen retention, trying to be a bit more sexually continent, and trying to retain a lot as well. A lot of those issues stem from having an abundance of feminine energy in the house. That stuff allows you to be comfortable and content with where you are, and you don't feel a need to pursue. You don't feel a need to be ambitious, to go after goals, or to even create goals for yourself. Because the feminine presence that's usually in the households of males, right? Males that haven't come into themselves financially are ones of a maternal presence. And that maternal presence always wants to take care of. They want to nurture. They're not going to ever goad you. They're not going to ever intimidate you or make you feel less than. They're always going to take care of you no matter what. And as men, we don't need that in order to truly develop. Men that are constantly comforted by the maternal instinct, the maternal presence, will never grow. They will never become ready. They will never become enlightened. That it just can't happen. There's no example in history. What was that? That was water. Strange, right? There is no example in history of a very powerful, magnanimous, expansive man that has been nurtured by the maternal instinct, solely the maternal instinct. Now, whether that soul is nurtured by the maternal and the paternal instinct is a different question. But that's a topic for another video. But the longer you guys remain in your parents' houses, the more you guys will never ever become who you're meant to be. I'm gonna give you guys another story. I was doing a live stream the other day. It was a really good turnout. And we had some guy was saying at the end of the day, you guys shouldn't really care about the opinions of others because most people, the multitude, generally aren't really enlightened. Like I was saying earlier in this video, and the advice that they'll give you as someone pursuing a special type of discipline, it will not be applicable to you because they've never went through that path, one, and two, the issues that you're facing, those existential issues that come about from first embarking on this journey with those disciplines, are problems that they've never experienced, they never most likely will experience. And so we had a guy that was saying, oh, life is hard, life is BS, and it's so hard to get a job, and I should, why is it that we're gonna try hard anyway in life? And I said, so I'm not gonna nurture you. I'm not gonna give you the little comforting words that you think that you should receive. If you think that, yes, go on, keep living off your parents. Don't pursue work, because work is so hard to come by, and you'll be lazy and disgusting for the rest of your life, right? And then he was saying all of these things, making excuses for his state, saying that this is the problem, there's a war that might happen, and the economy is bad, and all this kind of stuff, and this is the reason why he can't be successful, and I need to stop giving men false hope. And I was like, I'm not going to try to answer that. It seems like you have your mind made up. He was surrounded by this citadel of lame, corny, lazy ideology. I'm like, okay, you got all the answers. You go remain in that state. Guys that actually want to improve their life, come listen to me. Come check out what's going on in the Somerdale Piso channel, and then we're going to keep going forward, right? So I'm saying this, guys, right now. There's a prevalence, and you could tell, like, there's a lot of causes for this stunting in growth, because ultimately, the stunting of development, of male development, real male development, not what the heathen is doing in the world, where we have let me just break it down. A lot of the fathers nowadays, they have not gone through enlightenment. They prioritize their value off of material wealth and the women that they sleep with, the multiple women that they sleep with. By the way, the true enlightened ones know the more women you sleep with, the more of your essence is getting taken away from you. This is a huge truth. I'm sure the ancients knew this, of course, and they lived it. It's just that we forgot about it now because we've had a long spate of false masculine leaders, right? This is the truth. Coming back to it, we have a lot of men in the world. It doesn't matter what country they're from. They're mostly heathen, and they've gotten into family life because of mistakes. Most of them didn't plan to be fathers. They just decided to continuously chase the sexual urge, and then they became fathers. And so they took on the responsibility without even having been enlightened. Women as well. And so, but we're talking about the men, because the men that lead the households, some of the men that do stay, that lead the households, they're teaching men about a hyper-masculine aspect that has that doesn't make sense in this world. It doesn't do anything truly for the male. You will pursue material goods, you'll be a protector just because, and then you won't really understand why you're doing what you do, and you'll never chase the higher levels of the self, right? Because the masculine does not, the masculine that we've been conditioned to follow here in this world does not ever talk about the higher levels, the higher essences of the self, chasing the metaphysical energy, creating a network within the self that filters out the degeneracy of this plane. The masculine here does not teach you this. No culture teaches you this, by the way. Just want to let you know, which is why travel is good, but meeting people in different countries really don't teach you much. You'll just learn more about their culture. You really wouldn't know more about yourself. That's a topic for another video yet again. We have these guys, we have these fathers that become fathers accidentally most of the time, and then they teach men to pursue material goods without getting in touch with the other aspect of the self. And then they perpetuate degeneracy. They perpetuate this idea of accumulation of physical goods instead of trying to understand and chase the more grosser aspects of our natures. What I'm saying, right, as an individual, because we're in 2026, there's a whole bunch of information on the internet that teaches us about chasing the metaphysical instead of the physical, right? Of course, listen, I like nice things, and to a certain degree. And so I'll pay a little bit of money to be comfortable and look good, right? Because I feel good with myself. But I don't chase that by any means. I want to become more enlightened. I want to become a little bit more spiritual. So this is why that stuff is important to me. 2026 now, we've had a lot of memes on social media that talk about semen retention and being more celibate and sort of eschewing a lot of the things of the modern world that tell us to remain in degeneracy because everyone else does it, and that's how to prove your worth as an individual in this society. And the more people that are getting into semen retention, and you guys, there's a lot of young people, Gen Z. I see a lot of these guys watch my content. The more you get on semen retention and you truly stay within that state of celibacy, the more you're going to understand that the thrall of your parents, your unenlightened parents, their parents that have not ever done self-reflection in their lives, that may go to church every Sunday, but don't really understand the theological aspects of the Bible in terms of enlightenment and such, and other texts, whatever the religions you may follow. The more you're under their thrall, the more you will fall further and further away from your true self and your true purpose, whatever that may be for your idiosyncratic natures and your experiences, whatever they've crafted them to be. The more you're going to be separate from that. You need to hone in, stay on semen retention. The longer you stay on this practice, right? The longer you stay disciplined, you eschew the things of the world. Go to the gym, or if you don't like the gym, find somewhere, some other physical activity outside the gym, maybe calisthenics and such, or sports, in order to build up those endorphins in the body, so it can align with that practice of semen retention and your disciplines. And you will find, and life will create a path for you to become your best self and find your true purpose. That is the most important ideal and goal for the male. If 2025 wasn't fortuitous for you guys in terms of leveling up your life or becoming something new or trying to find something important for yourself or for your meaning, right? Make 2026 a year where you lock in on semen retention, you lock in on disciplines, you eschew the modern world, you stop listening to your parents. You stop listening to them. You get a job. Do not listen. The economy is bad. The economy is bad everywhere. It's bad in Bulgaria. People are suffering everywhere. What you need to do is find out your idiosyncratic way to try to accumulate resources for yourself, not to flaunt like the degenerate multitude heathen all over the world, but you need to accumulate things for yourself, to try to level up yourself, to separate yourself from the unenlightened. You have your own place, you have your own apartment, you have your own life, and you level up. All the traditions of the world do not matter. This is what I'm gonna tell you. It doesn't matter if you are Georgian, Ukrainian, Russian. These guys are look at the statistics. They're getting, every year, these guys are becoming more and more overweight and obese. They're becoming more and more poor, right? They're becoming less and less bonded with faith and religion. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what country you're in. You are mostly surrounded by degenerates that are out for their own self-interest, only for the sake of showing off to others that are of the same class, heathen class. 2026 men, you need to start getting on semen retention, honing in your force, and trying to separate from the tyrannical thrall of your parents that have never sought self-reflection, that it will never be enlightened, and will always imprison you and indoctrinate you to stay within your lane so they can constantly have control over you, and you will never find your purpose. That's all I have to say, guys. If you guys enjoy that kind of content, like, comment, subscribe, listen, share the video with some peers. Don't ever let this place get you down. I am not against travel. I love traveling. Like I said, we've been all over Eastern Europe last year, and even this year, the beginning of this year. But what I'm saying is that something that I've learned from my travels is that people don't truly differ from place to place. People are still obsessed with the material. They're still obsessed with accumulating wealth, right? At the expense of furthering the wealth of the self. If you tell someone about semen retention and not drinking, they'll look at you like you're an alien, you're an extraterrestrial, right? Because their fathers have done it, and their fathers' fathers have done it, and their fathers battled into some war against another country. By the way, all for degenerate reasons, if you really want to call it what it is, right? But we're not going to get into detail. But people are bound by tradition. They are bound by what the world tells them to do, and so they never seek within the self. This goes for how even religions are interpreted as well. I'm gonna make another video on that, but what I'm telling you is this. Truth begins when you start to aim to separate yourselves from the unenlightened, the heathen, right? Have your own place, take care of your own bills. You go in the world as snakes, right? You're as wise as serpents. As Jesus said, right? You go into the world as wise as serpents, but you keep yourself as innocent as a dove. That means you do not mess up your karmic wealth, don't drink, you don't smoke, you make sure that the body is not induced to sin. I'm gonna make I made videos on this, but I'm gonna make a whole other couple of videos on this as well, because this is the most important. Don't be like the heathen. Look at the heathen, and then you move forward. I love you all, guys. Stay radiant. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Woo!